welcome one of you in the another session of transportation engineering. As we already know that we have been discussing about pavement engineering and its concept, we have discussed about types of pavement and the different kinds of pavement and what are the basic criteria through which we can understand the difference between both the pavements such as flexible pavement and rigid pavement. So let us revise once again that what does pavement means. Then pavement means it is the surface of the road on which we as means pedestrian, humans or vehicles can travel. Usually whenever we are discussing about highway pavement, then that particular pavement consists of number of layers. Basically there are four layers: subgrade, subbase, base and surface. The availability of base or subbase layer depends upon various kind of conditions. There are two types of pavement as far as your syllabus is concerned. First is the flexible pavement and second is the rigid pavement. Flexible pavement means the pavement which is made up of bituminous material or the earthen material or gravel or any kind of soil stabilized material. And rigid pavement includes the slab, RCC slab or cement concrete slab as the top surface part or the top surface layer. We have already discussed the difference about the flexural strength, the deformation action, the warping stresses, and now we are going to discuss about various kind of components. The what does subgrade layer includes, what does the subbase, base and surface layer includes, then and what are the various factors that we need to keep in consideration whenever we are deciding the type of pavement for our road stretch. I welcome all of you once again, and in this session we are going to cover various components of pavement and then factors which are affecting our selection condition or selection process of the pavement. In this session we are going to discuss components of pavement and factors affecting pavement. Let us discuss about how to select a pavement. Whenever we are approaching a road segment for its new design or overlay design or maintenance, what are the key criteria that we are going to consider? First is about the traffic density, that how much traffic is observed in that particular stretch where we are going to allocate a new pavement. Then we will look into the fund availability, that what is the available fund, what is the amount that we are going to be allocated. Then what is the condition of drainage criteria, how the drainage is being provided, whether it is fairly provided or not. Then what is the availability of construction materials, whether we have to go at further places to avail the construction material or they are available in the vicinity of the site. Then the availability of labors, then various kind of atmospheric conditions, available project time, that how much time we have as the allocation time to complete the project, and what is the level of area, what is the area which is about the mean sea level, the height difference between the level of area and the mean sea level. So basically these are the criteria through which we can uh, accomplish our goal of selection of proper pavement, whether we should go for flexible pavement or rigid pavement. Traffic density, fund availability, drainage conditions, construction material availability, labor availability, atmospheric condition, project time availability, and level of area about mean sea level. So these are the various criteria to select the pavement. Then let us discuss about the functions of pavement components. As I have already discussed that there are four types of layer which are basically provided. If we discuss about flexible pavement, then the layers look like this. The first layer is about soil subgrade, then the another layer is about soil subbase, the subbase, only subbase. Then the next layer which comes above it is about base layer, and the last layer is about the wearing course. So basically there are four layers: soil subgrade, subbase, base and surface layer. And if we are talking about the rigid thing, then it contains the slab part at the top surface. Now let us discuss about various particular things, various layers. First is about soil subgrade. So the function of soil subgrade is to transfer the load. Wait a minute. To transfer the load from this point to this point. So this is the soil subgrade. You can observe over here that it contains maximum depth or maximum height. So it ultimately the load which is carried over by this layer will transfer to this layer. So the function of soil subgrade is to transfer the load from upper layer to the lower layer without deformation. It is the layer of natural soil. The soil is provided in soil subgrade and the pressure should not be greater than its elastic limit. It is desirable it is provided of 50 centimeter means minimum 500 mm, and it is compressed under the optimum moisture content and maximum dye density that you are learning in your soil subject. OMC and MDD criteria are considered while this soil is provided. And to know the strength of this layer, CBR test, triaxial test, compression test, plate bearing test are conducted. So basically this is the layer which is provided to take up all the loads. This layer is provided of minimum 50 centimeter. It contains soil, natural soil in it. And if we discuss about another layer, then it is about subbase layer. The subbase layer is made up of the combination of stones, sand, gravel and muram, SSGM. Stone, sand, gravel and muram. The function of this particular layer is to increase the bearing capacity so that the load which are transferred over this layer can easily be transferred over this layer. It increases the drainage capacity and it prevents the subgrade soil to get penetrated into base course, means it prevents the mixing of both these layers. Basically the thickness of this layer is less than soil subgrade layer. It is about 30 centimeter thickness and it is stabilized soil or granular soil is provided. It is the combination of stone, sand, gravel and muram. Now, if we discuss about another layer, then it is about the base layer. The layer which is provided below the surface layer is called as base layer. The height of this layer is about 7.5 to 10 centimeter. The thickness is 7.5 to 10 centimeter. It contains the soft aggregates, waterbound macadam, bricks, brick bats means the pieces of bricks and slag. The function of this base layer is the load distribution, structural stability to this layer, and it resists the consolidation pressure and weathering action. So this is about the base layer, which is the third layer. And if we discuss about the fourth layer, then the another layer is about the surface layer. It is the topmost layer or pavement surface on which vehicle travel. It is the uppermost layer. It should be impermeable so that the water cannot be transferred over another layers. It is the low cost surface. The height of this particular layer is quite lesser than another layers. It is provided in order to get smooth riding surface, to prevent the entry of rainwater, to transfer the wheel loads and to reduce the friction between road surface and tire so that the vehicles can travel easily over the surface. So this is about the all four layers. First is about the soil subgrade, then subbase, then base and then surface. So these are the functions of various pavement components. Now we'll discuss about the various factors that needs to be considered whenever we are designing a pavement. So there is a shortcut key through which you can remember this thing. The shortcut key is DSDCPEDR. DSDCPEDR. Now what is the full form of this? D stands for design mean load, S stands for subgrade soil, D stands for design life, then C stands for climatic factors, P stands for, I have forgotten to include the P. P stands for proper drainage, E stands for environmental factors, D stands for drainage criteria design and R stands for road geometry. DS, DCP, EDR. D stands for design mean load, S stands for subgrade soil, D stands for design life, C stands for climatic factor, P stands for pavement material also, proper drainage and pavement materials. E stands for environmental factors, D stands for drainage and R stands for road geometry. Let us discuss one by one. Let us discuss about design mean load. So the pavement thickness depends upon the wheel load. Higher the wheel load, greater thickness is required. And whenever we are discussing about wheel load, we need to consider the static wheel load, dynamic wheel load, multiple wheel load, contact pressure, and dynamic effects of flow. Then comes the S. S stands for subgrade soil. The subgrade with lower stability, if the soil which is incurred in the subgrade layer having lower stability, then higher amount of thickness of pavement is required. And if the stability of soil is higher, then you can reduce the pavement thickness. So it is vice versa, because ultimately the pavement and the wheel load will rest on the subgrade layer. Then comes another D, that stands for design life. Let us discuss about the definition of design life, that it is the period of life for which the initially designed pavement structure will last for any rehabilitation. Means the day till which no rehabilitation or repair work is provided in any pavement is called as design life, and it is dependent on the level of maintenance which is being provided over the design life. These are certain criteria that if urban road is there and it is having high traffic volume, it should have minimum design life of 30 to 50 years. If rural road is there, then it should have the minimum design life of 20 to 50 years. Then low volume paved roads, and then low volume aggregate surface roads. So these are the criteria that you need to keep in your mind while we are designing the road. Then comes another criteria, that is about C. C stands for climatic factors. It includes various rainfall conditions. We have to keep the study over rainfall, over temperature variation. Then comes the P. P stands for pavement component materials. Why we need to consider pavement material? Because the stress distribution of wheel depends upon the pavement layers and pavement material. If the material which are incurred in the pavement are of lower quality, then wheel loads cannot be transferred efficiently. So pavement component material plays an important role. Less quality of material means less life of pavement and more maintenance is required. And higher quality of material means higher life and less maintenance is required. So this is vice versa. Now another criteria is environmental factors, that includes the embankment height, foundation details, cutting and filling depth, and water table depth. Then comes the D, stands for drainage. Subsurface and surface drainage are incurred. Drainage coefficient of pavement design method is calculated, and it depends upon the how efficiently the drainage quality is designed. Means if rainfall water is accumulated on the road surface and the water is removed within 2 hours, then it means it is excellent quality of drainage. If the water is removed within one day, then it is good quality. If it is removed within 1 week, then it is of fair quality. If it is removed within 1 month, then it is of poor quality. And if the water is not removed, then it is poor quality. And these are the ASTHO criteria, American State Highway Transport Association criteria. And the last but not the least is about the road geometry, which involves the width, the depth, the gradient, camber, horizontal alignment, curves, and super elevation. So we have discussed about various factors which are considered in the pavement design, that includes DS, DCP, EDR. We have discussed about pavement component materials such as subgrade, subbase, base, and surface, and we have discussed the criteria how to select the pavement. I hope you have gone through the concept thoroughly. Thank you so much.